So in the quick start guide, our first step is to tilt the generator over and take the supporting hardware out from the bottom of it. So I got a piece of foam from the box. So I'm going to just grab this handle and just tilt it over right into that foam. And here on the bottom we can see we have 4 bolts, and they're orange to take out. And they are 10 millimeter, and you can use a wrench or a socket or whatever you have. And they're not very tight. They come right out quite easily. Actually, when you break them loose, you can pretty much do them by hand. And so what these do is they kind of hold the motor down, so whenever it's shipped, it doesn't bounce around everywhere. And so you won't need these technically anymore, unless you plan on shipping it. You might want to keep them for that reason. Simple enough for step 1. And while we're under here, we can see we have pretty large squishy rubber feet here on the front. And again, on the back, we're actually sitting on the wheels. But yeah, everything looks pretty good under here. And also if we go up here, we can kind of see the inverter heatsink there where it draws air in to cool it. And if we go to the top, we can kind of see it here too, the heatsink to the inverter. All right, so step 2 is putting oil in it. Here it says the recommended weight and the ounces you need. Then after that, things are pretty common sense. Move the generator outside, add fuel to it. Don't plug anything in it because you need to start it first. And then go to choke, pull on the recoil. And then when it starts, move the dial to run position from the choke. And then you can plug everything in and you're good to go. All right, so let's put the oil in. I'm gonna move this to the side. In any case, hopefully you guys can see that's the drain right there. And I'm gonna also put a little rag just in case we drip. And I do have a light inside there, that's why it's so bright, but yeah, hopefully we can see. But I'm gonna get the dipstick out. So we are on the very tip, means we need to add a little more, or quite a bit more, I guess. So we're gonna use this provided funnel. Just gonna go in there, open up our oil. It is sealed, and slowly add it in there. So you want to, kind of slow down towards the end. We'll probably need to check it here in a bit. All right, so this is almost empty. Wiped off this dipstick, put it in there. And look at that, we're more than halfway. So I guess we could put the rest of it in. And that actually should be the perfect amount. Well, actually it's coming out. Or maybe I just poured it in too quick. Now, there's just a tiny bit left. Let's check it again. So you don't have to screw it in, you just kind of put it in there and look. So yeah, it's actually not all the way up, but I guess maybe if we screw it in and screw it back out, yeah, we're pretty much full then. So yeah, I think I was just going way too fast. Let's just go ahead and put the rest of this in there. Just barely anything left. And we should be good with the oil. Now for the break-in, we will have to change our oil pretty shortly after running it. And we'll want to run it for, maybe like an hour or 30 minutes, depends. And then change our oil and do that a few more times after about 2 to 5 hours. And then maybe after about 10 hours or 8 hours. And that way we get all of the metal machining and whatever cuts loose from the engine to come out or flush it out. And give our piston rings to wear in with the sleeve and just kind of let the whole engine wear in. All right, so we can put our dipstick back in, screw it in, clip the drain hose back over here, and put our lid on, and we'll be ready to start it. So now we just got to put some gas in, and I can see the gauge going up a little bit, which probably you guys can't see, but I'll show you in a second. So we put in about half a tank. You guys can see it's a little less than half, but yeah, 2 gallons, a little less. All right, so now we just need to take it outside, and you want to make sure you're in a pretty clear area with lots of airflow. But what we're going to do is set this thing to choke, and then when it cranks, we're going to move it back to run position. So to turn the engine off, you go here, but if you're going to store it away, and probably a good idea whenever you don't use it anymore to just let it run out of gas, and then turn it off. And before we started, I'm going to pull on the recoil here a few times to kind of get everything going. The oil. And now let's put it into choke. It should start up pretty quickly. Okay, tried there, the first try. So I am in a very warm area, so I probably don't need choke because it's quite hot outside. Let's try it without it. Yeah, sure enough. Wow, that was crazy. So I guess if you live in a very warm environment, you probably don't want to use choke. Like I didn't need it at all there. But yeah, it's running. It's actually pretty quiet. So I'm in an echoey garage, so it probably is going to seem a little louder than it actually is, but I'm going to let it run, warm up. We need to run it for about 4 hours, the manual says, to break it in, but I think I'm going to do only an hour or 2 and then change the oil. And also varying loads, not above 50% is recommended. So as it's running here, we can see we have the display that shows the hertz. That's how much hours, I guess, passed, or since the last start. This is the total hours, which is 0.1. That's the voltage, 244. And again, back to the hertz. I just keep cycling through there. Then here we have the reset for the circuit breaker. So if this turns red, click on that. And then below that, we got the eco mode. So if we push on that, it's gonna speed up. You guys hear that? Got a little louder. I'll turn that on as it's nice and quiet. Alright guys, so I moved the generator to another spot. It's actually a balcony here. And I got an extension cord plugged into it. And you guys can see we do have some pretty good total hours there. But I got it plugged in into this 12,000 BTU, I believe, air conditioner. So it should handle it no problem. Let's go ahead and start it up. So I did idle up just a little bit when the fan kicked in, but we can see there's nothing on the gauge here. But once it kicks in, we'll be able to hear the RPM up, and we should be able to see the gauge go up a little bit, I think. And there it goes. You guys saw it go all the way to here. So there was a really big surge in the beginning, but now the load is pretty low, about 15% or so maybe. 25 should be our next dot, and then 50 is this one. That's 75 and 100. So yeah, it has no issue with this type of air conditioning. Obviously it can handle quite more, but you guys saw how it shot up. But I'm pretty sure it can handle even larger surges for short periods of time. But yeah, we're gonna let it break in as the AC turns on and off. That's gonna be a good, you know, load unload kind of scenario. And it's pretty light on it, so it'll give it a chance to warm up really good and break in.